Right. This year's National Economic Survey revealed that Kenya has an annual deficit of 200,000 houses. The construction industry builds 50,000 units every year, falling way short of the needed housing for citizens. The Jubilee government had put housing as one of its priority areas since 2018. It's not a secret that housing is a big pain point for Kenyans. So, with all due respect, how can we reverse this trend? Here's some quick facts for you. The construction industry is highly extractive and uses enormous volumes of materials sourced from the environment. But there are opportunities in there as well for job creation and use of green technologies. Breaking slightly from the norm tonight, we highlight innovators in this space because we believe this is an important national discourse. And so tonight we will hear from Ntamu Kililo, who's the CEO of Mycotile, a manufacturing startup growing building materials out of readily available agricultural wastes. Yes, growing building materials. And Hosea Munene Mugera, who's the manager at Toolkit eSkills Limited, a leading social enterprise that transforms youth through skilling with technology and linkage to jobs. Gentlemen, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So one of the things that when you say tonight you're going to talk about green housing, the first question that Kenyans asked me was, what in the world is green housing? Why would I want to live in a greenhouse? And the picture that everyone is, you know, the thing that, you know, agriculture uses. Is that greenhousing? Let's start with you.
That's a good question. Greenhouses and greenhousing actually is just building our houses today without compromising the future generation ability to build their own houses. So it's quite simple. It's just using natural materials in a way that they can be either recycled at the end of the building life, or using solar technology, recycling your normal water, just not being wasteful, and using, I talked about material, solar, and maybe waste, managing your waste and things like that. So it's normal daily activity. It's just the wording that makes it a little maybe fancy and that, but it's normal daily things that are done better.
So the materials that we have and things that we have in this space, is that the same definition you have?
Yeah, materials, most likely we are talking of materials that are recyclable.
Yeah.
And materials that are readily available in the environment of the people, use of technology to make it look more permanent, because the question everybody wants to know is, if I build with these resources that are available in my village, they are collected next to me, can that house be termed as permanent?
Right.
And the technology now comes in to confirm that what you build with those materials is actually permanent. And in various countries, you have seen storied buildings beyond 5 stories constructed with materials that are recyclable or available naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we must not go every day to the quarry.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the strength of the environment. But and the switch brings the next question, and everyone, you know, has been on it as well, that and talk about people in construction industry. It's not one of the, you know, the best jobs, if you like, quote unquote, you know, looking good. You know, it's first, you know, it's characterized with people who didn't have options, you know, and so happens that I have to use my energy and my sort of resources to come and lift stones and move them about. It's not glorious, not glamorous, right? Does it have to be this way?
I think I'm not of that perception actually, that it's not glamorous or it's not your normal white-collar job. I think we want to look at construction as an opportunity. Myself, I'm a trained architect, but I choose to go to the construction industry to work with the builders and build material, because there is actually a lot of opportunity there. And like you said, there is a deficit of hundreds of thousands of houses in the country.
Yeah.
That's a big business opportunity for anybody to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of builders, even let's talk about just the masonry work that we are saying that is still not as renewable, but still there can be entrepreneur and corporates, people becoming corporates and running these businesses. So it is actually a more lucrative job than people perceive it, because yeah, it's perceived as, yeah, when you don't make it to professional causes, then you end up in the construction industry. But I think we want to change that perception completely.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you do, right?
Yeah.
To talk a bit about what, you know, your sort of organization, you know, thinks and views. How do we take these jobs? Obviously, we have a deficit of skills in the market, and we hear this every so often that we need more masons, we need more electricians, we need people to, you know, who are hands-on, right, to do things. Talk to us a bit about what your organization does.
Yeah, Toolkit iSkills was founded in 2014, and the focus of Toolkit iSkills is to empower young people in skills using technology, meaning that it's not the traditional skilling that the guys, when they go to the Mjengo, they will remain at the level of the Mjengo. For example, I can give an example of the welders who are doing our metallic doors, who are doing our metallic windows. When we take them to the training, and there are 3 categories of them, it could be somebody who has never been to any Mjengo, but is interested in a skill like welding. Right. Or it could be somebody who has been in a Mjengo in the jewelry sector. Or it could be a third category where there is a new material that has come in, like these guys, what they have brought the insulation materials. And there are no guys that have been trained before to use this material. And they want to bring it to the industry. Yeah. So we partner with the company that is producing these materials, and then we train the young people specifically to work with these materials. As you know, in the industry, most of the construction decisions are made by the fundis. And therefore, if the fundi tells you this material is good, you'll go for it. If he tells you, I've never used it, I doubt it, you can't use it. You can't use it. Right. So we train them using technology how to use that material. Right. And from there, then, the guys producing the material, they can be able to penetrate the industry using these guys who have been trained in specific trade. The second category I said are those Juakari guys that have learned in the street. They have never used a shield to weld. They have never used a glove. You can see all the cuts in their hands. And therefore, that's why the job looks like it's not good. Right. So the first part of it, we introduce them to safety. They learn that if you have to weld, you must be professional. To be professional, you must have the gloves. Right. You must have the shield, and you must have the helmet. So, and of course, the apron. Okay? So at the final end, what we say, the job is not glamorous, it's not a nice one. Then at the final end, when you look at the guy doing it, then is really a creative. He takes a photo.
So he looks the part. He has to look the part. Like he has to look, proper, going to work. I'm doing my welding, and, this is not a thing that, I just walked in, like, professionally trained, and I look the part for it.
Yes. So, and it gives him, when he learns to use it now professionally, he can be able to get a job not only in the informal sector, but he can also go to a construction that is real construction. And when you see how he's starting his job to the end, the big constructors will take him. Yes. The other aspect we do is those guys who have never been to any construction. So they have not even gone to school. Right. So these guys, they cannot express themselves. So they need, first of all, life skill. How do I present myself if I need a job? Most of them will say to the construction or to any, what job do you need? Any job. And in the construction job, which job is any job? Yeah. So you just give them the wheelbarrow to carry the sand. Right. So these guys are trained to focus on a specific area. So if they want to be bricklayers, you train them on bricklaying, starting with life skill. And then from there, then you can find that when they get out of the stage of the training, when they go to the industry, they are not going to get the job that is underlooked. Right. And they are going to be paid not like a Kijana Mjengo 500. They are going to be paid like a professional fundi. So our part as Toolkit iSkills is to give youth opportunity for decent jobs. Right. So we move them from the Juakali, that they can take anything, to a focus that myself, I'm a bricklayer and professional bricklayer.
Absolutely. I mean, these are the great things that I like to, and one of my motivations of having you tonight is, first, it breaks from the traditional things that we do every day, is people discussing the problems and problems and problems without solution. And truth is that we have a deficit of skills, right, especially in the construction. And it could be an opportunity to get us to get more people to get not just the terrible jobs, but well-paying jobs, decent jobs.
Yeah, I think there's a big opportunity in a well-paying job. I'll speak as a manufacturer myself. We are manufacturing a product that has not been in the market at all. We are using, yes, agricultural waste, and we are bonding it. We could bond it with any artificial resin, which is harmful to the environment, but we are bonding with the mushroom mycelium. And what we do is we train now the youth in the preparation of those substrate, preparation of that material. And it's interesting to them because even when they go out there, hey, we are building a new material, you know, like
Yeah.
especially the young guys are excited about the product. We're building actually a very new material. Actually, it's grown. It's not even manufactured.
Right.
We grow it, and we can see the fibers moving through the waste. And it's exciting, especially like the guys we work with mostly come from the western of Kenya, where our main raw material at the moment is sugar bagasse. And maybe the normal job that they will do then is harvesting sugarcane. And it's not necessarily the most exciting job, even your attire when you are doing it, the way you look. But then now you're like, okay, no, now I don't do the cutting of the sugarcane. I am in producing a new product that is superior to what we see in the market. So we see another opportunity here in the production, and then also even in the sales of the new material, just getting guys who are aggressive in selling this product, because the building industry is quite conservative and people tend to stay in the NOx test he had mentioned.
Yes.
This building is solid enough, can it stay here? So we need also aggressive selling people. Yeah, there are a few other corporate people who will be interested in taking a green product because of the certification, and a few other early adopters. But now we need also sales force that pushes that product ahead in the market to penetrate the market. Yes. Yes.
Absolutely. So I'm talking to Mtamu Kililo and Jose Amunene, two innovators talking about how to change our perception of the construction industry and what we can do to change that space and the opportunities in there. And I'm interested in your question as well. Taking a short break. When I'm coming back, I want to hear your questions. And how else do we get everyone else involved and excited about this? It's a new space.
Get the best value for your money by subscribing today for Classic Bouquet at only 899 shillings for 30 days to enjoy 64 channels. Classic Bouquet. Premium content on Star Times. Subscribe today.
We offer free delivery countrywide and also offer the Lipa Pole Pole option. Enjoy unbeatable offers on our products: box profile from Kenya shillings 420, tile profiles from Kenya shillings 590, gauge 28 mat from Kenya shillings 730, stone coated at Kenya shillings 650.
This one-stop sourcing solution has made our back-end operations more efficient. Sandy has helped us to focus on growing our business and serving our customers better.
Ukiambiwa 1 plus 2, 10 marks. Huwezi andika 3.
Hebu fanya ujinga, uvae jeans, t-shirt na kofia. Uingie kwa gari, makanga akuitishe fare, umwambie nitakupea tukishuka. Unasikianga? Dondoa moja dere.
Nunua kutumia kadi yako ya Naivas na ujishindie bonus points ama voucher 2000 na mbuzi 1000. Na kama hauna kadi, jichukulie moja kwenye Naivas yoyote. Naivas, Christmas kiloko.
Kuwa smart na ujaribu Zenka 0% loans for first-time borrowers. Zenka, smart loans for smart people.
El cielo lo haría sin pensarlo 2 veces, porque te quiero ahí y hasta lucero.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
Did you know that Mudokinja Paints and Cement delivers cement countrywide for free? The hardware deals with paints, cement, waterproofing, and decorating sundries. Modokinjo has 17 branches across the country. Modokinjo delivers reliable, accessible, and affordable building materials that are used within all residential houses, factories, office, and public buildings for the purpose of decoration and protection.
Did you know at Ruiru Mabati Factory, we offer free delivery within the same day? Did you know at Ruiru Mabati Factory, you can open an account and lipa pole pole at your convenience? Did you know at Ruiru Mabati Factory, you can get customized sizes according to your roof plan to avoid wastage? Call us now on 0111 050 700. Ruiru Mabati Factory, mali safi kwa bei poa.
Simu moja tu. You and your girlfriend will be behind bar where you belong.
Nipate tu more time.
I've got a better idea.
Alicia, no messy business, remember?
Na kama ameenda kwa Karawa akawaambia kila kitu, tutaenda. And I for one am too good looking to spend the rest of my life in Langata Women's.
Ukijaribu kunishika kwa ndo unaenda.
Mrembo, tumekuwa tukikutafuta. Umekuwa kujificha wapi?
A wanted criminal.
Usiporudi in the next 2 hours na kukujia.
Unazenda kwa safe house kwa sababu hakuna haja sisi wote wawili tushikwe.
Richard, umekufanyia nini yake?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na furahia na Optiven. Furahia, ushinde na Optiven.
All right, you're watching With All Due Respect. Tonight, as I said earlier, we are taking a different break. We're talking to innovators in the construction sector. I have the first question, gentlemen, and the question is, are we talking about housing construction sector, to be specific, or the overall construction sector?
I'll start with the numbers. At the beginning of the conversation here, we said there's housing deficit of 200,000.
Yes.
That is direct demand. For me as an entrepreneur, I will approach the housing as my first client because there is access to the market. But it's a building material. You can use it in anything. So yes, the focus is in housing, but we are looking at the construction industry at large.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. The next question is this, and I think it's okay, directed to you. Explain when you're using, agricultural material. You're growing agricultural material. That's the exact word that you're using. Like, what exactly do you mean you're growing building materials?
Yeah. So it's grown because it's bonded using a fungus. It's bonded actually using an oyster mushroom. So we use those fibers as resin to bond agriculture waste. By agricultural waste, what I mean here is coffee husk, corn cobs, rice husk, sugar bagasse, wheat bran, wheat straws. So anything that is organic and is waste. So it's almost as like a circular economy where at the end of food production, we take the waste and then we bond it and make a composite of building material. So for us, we are looking at alternative building material because we are aware if we stay in the brick and mortar, we won't meet this deficit. It's been here and annually it's growing.
Yeah.
So we have to look at alternative. And in Kenya, what we have in abundance is the agricultural waste. We get it. For example, for us, the sugar bagasse we are getting from sugar factories that are like, can you please solve this problem for us? Please,
it's a massive waste.
Yeah, please deal with this waste because now we can't even, we don't know what to do with it. Mm-hmm. But the building industry can consume a lot because a lot of buildings are coming up. So it's also a massive intake. So it's cyclic, which now comes to our point of greening the building industry because this is a green product. And also because it's bonded organically, at the end of the building life, it doesn't go to your landfills. It's green, it composts. Mm-hmm. So it's actually a good product in the long run. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and as you said, it can also be applied in housing and also in commercial property.
Right. Is this sort of building material, can it stand? Can it, for instance, withstand like a proper rain in Western Kenya? For sure. or we've just built something that, it's fair weather.
Yeah, good question. So yes, we are in alternative building material. Our first product is insulation.
Right.
Insulation is just to improve the indoor air quality and provide decent housing. So basically, it's in between your walling. So when you do your normal, for example, if you do your mabati housing, it gets very hot during the day and very cold during the night. So the insulation is you add a layer to it and cover it. Usually people will cover with plywood or things like that, but it still gets cold. If you are in Kinangop, for example, and you are doing a timber building, you do a timber building and then you put your insulation in between. And also you can insulate your roof so your roof doesn't get very hot or very cold. So at the moment, it's not used externally.
I see.
Yeah, it's used only internally. But like you say, we are still in the lab with actually KIRDI, which is Kenya Industrial Research and Development Institute. And we are looking at producing more products within the same process because there are a lot of prior odds in this bonding of agricultural waste, and we see a lot more opportunities and application. And yeah, maybe I will tell you in the next couple of years, I guess, we can have it on the roof and it can withstand.
And it can stand the proper radius. A question for you, the kind of decent jobs, and this question I'm seeing now, like this problem with moving jobs, you know, from what they are. Like if you go to the Mjengo site today, the job is stuck, all right? There's levels of it and how it goes. And it's almost impossible for you to transition to the next level. From where you sit and where you're tooling, you know, people and getting young people to get involved and getting the skills that they need and they deserve and we need as a country, what plan say would you have? And the way you look at it, you know, in terms of scaling up so that it's more people. Where are you in this country first?
We are very strong in 4 trades or 4 skills, in welding, in electrical, in plumbing, and in scaffolding. And that is one area that is not very well known in Kenya. In terms of scaling, Toolkit, we have moved from the traditional training where every training institution thinks of first building an institution. Instead of that, we partner with the 2 people. One, we partner with the training institutions. For example, when we want to train guys from Nyanza, we look for a training institution that has facilities in Nyanza, and we camp there, mobilize the trainees that are required. For us to be able to determine which courses we are going to train, it comes from research. Which are the marketable skills in that region? Then we look for partnership with the corporates, with a company that will sponsor trainees, and when they are after the training, they'll go to work in that company or related companies. So our approach is quite different, so that we are able to train numbers. If you wait for those who can pay for themselves, there'll be just as few as any other place. But if there is a scholarship kind of, they pay a certain proportion, like 10%, and another 90% is taken care of, then you can be able to give opportunity to guys who would never have gotten a chance to go to a training institutions.
How many have you trained so far?
If I give example with the years, like 2020, we were able to train 750.
Wow, that's a huge number.
Yes. In this year, 2021, we have a cohort of 1,000. Because we got a scholarship, a company that offered as a social responsibility to train 1,000. And that goes to 2022, we have another 1,000. And these are spread in the 4 skills. So when we talk of skilling, the approach of not demanding payment from the trainees and looking for possible scholarship makes it very workable. Then level 2 is to stop what he's calling brick and mortar approach to staff. Training, instead of, for example, I give again welding, instead of taking metals and welding rods, okay, and then connect electricity, currently we are experimenting on, actually not experimenting because we are in the 2nd stage, on virtual reality in welding.
What does that mean?
Virtual reality is when you simulate an environment of a workshop, and the material, the thing that you want to weld, maybe is a big drum or a pipe. So instead of having the real pipe, you simulate it through the computer, and you have the pipe, and then you have a welding rod and the welding machine. But all of them, you put the goggles and like you are able to see
you don't have to do
yourself.
the real thing.
Yes.
You're doing the real thing, but not the real thing.
It's very interesting for the first time when young people are in it.
Yeah.
You can see him trying to touch whatever he's supposed to weld.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this way, you are able to cut the cost. Instead of buying the chuma and buying the welding rod and the cost of electricity, so you are able to weld many hours. The young people can weld many hours, or the trainees can weld many hours without consumption of the metals. And therefore, the scalability goes high because the cost of the training is quite low.
Gentlemen, you're saying very nice things, you know, and one of the things you guys are asking, like, look, so this happens in Nairobi, in labs alone, or is it possible, you know, that it happens outside Nairobi, outside towns? Because the need actually, it's in Nairobi and outside towns as well, right?
Yeah, we deliver the service to the beneficiaries, and that is the innovative approach we are talking about.
Yes.
For example, currently, we have a site in Mombasa, and since it's a big construction site that they are using a lot of welding, we have taken the virtual reality technology there. So in a village, they are using the virtual reality because you need only the connectivity. We provide the connectivity and the machine, and the guys are on training. After that, they are able,
to do the work.
To do the work, yes.
Let's talk about the policy sort of hang-ups that currently that you have. The things that you say, look, we cannot move forward until, you know, we fix, you know, policy X, for instance. For instance, we know about, you know, how extractive this industry is. What's that huge, you know, sort of stumbling block?
I have two ways here. I can either speak as an architect or as a manufacturer.
Go for both.
So maybe I will start from the architect side of things. At the moment, there is a current building code that is a draft, not yet adopted, but it's one that is more accommodating to the new building material. So the building code that we are using is a bit old. I think it's a 1968 building code, and some of it was not very accommodating of alternative building material. So if you design a project and you're submitting it to the council, or you have to have a bit of conversation before the project goes through. So I think once this new building code is adopted, it might be very easy now for the building material to access the market. As a manufacturer, I think there are a few also other I'll call them challenges. Let me call them challenges. Of course, you have your certifications that you need to get, your KEB certification, you have to be reviewed, and things like those. And sometimes, as manufacturers are so passionate about the product that we slightly forget this side of standards. And then when you are ready to reach the market, you realize, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. So I think if there was like a footprint or toolkit where young manufacturers can follow just to realize what I need to do. I'll give an example again at Kirdi, the research institute that we are working with. The building industry or the building material department is not in use. We are probably the only guys doing the research there. Okay, the food industry, cosmetic industry, completely packed.
Yes.
Yeah, everybody is doing research there. So I think also visibility that actually the government has research institutions that are aimed at helping building material is important. So it's not just policy, maybe it's even just marketing some of these opportunities to the youth, and people can see this as opportunity to be entrepreneurs. So you're not just employed, you can become also a manufacturer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, we're taking a short break. When I come back, we want to discuss about the opportunities in the construction sector as a wide, and everything and anything that we can do. And my panelists who are in this sector and in this business will sort of walk us through on everything and anything we can do. We just don't need to be in food and the cosmetic sector. It's perfect, it's good, but we can't do anything else, with all due respect.
Here's a toast kutoka Hunter's Choice. Kwa hii life, lazima uweke effort bro. Through the late nights and heated moments. Ikikam kwa the game of life, Chief, you just have to own it. Hunter's Choice. Own your game.
Sometimes you just know that something ain't going good. You say to yourself, this ain't working for me. There's no shame in that, man.
Like when you don't got it?
Yeah, man. Sometimes being smart means knowing when to stop. Know your limit.
So like knowing when to stop Yeah, makes sense.
If it's not fun, choose to stop.
This advertisement is brought to you by BetPower.
Simu moja tu. You and your girlfriend will be behind bar where you belong.
Nipatie tu more time.
I've got a better idea.
Alicia, no messy business, remember?
Na kama ameenda kwa Karao akawaambia kila kitu, tutaenda. And I for one am too good looking to spend the rest of my life in Langata Women's.
Ukijaribu kunishika huko ndo unaenda.
Mrembo, tumekuwa tukikutafuta. Umekuwa kujificha wapi?
A wanted criminal.
Usiporudi in the next 2 hours na kukujia.
Unaenda kwa safe house kwa sababu hakuna haja sisi wote wawili tushikwe.
Richard, umekufanyia nini yaki?
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.
Ni rahisi, buy ama redeem na ushinde na furahia na Optiven.
Black, it's not dark, it's bright. Black is bold. Black is every color, all together. My thing, your thing, our thing mixed together. Black shines brightest.
Come on, hop on.
Good morning.
It's the NBA 75th from the Skyhook.
Gracias, George.
All the way to the alley-oop.
Oh, throw it down, big man. Good pass, bro.
That was an instant classic. This community right here stretches to every corner of the globe. Now we've seen kids turn into kings and give it all back to the next generation. There's a piece of this game for everyone. The game don't stop. It won't stop.
A place in your heart.
Are you all right?
Please tell me. Do you believe what Catherine told you just now?
But it's much more humiliating if you take ownership of Audrey's baby once she gives birth.
Of course not. I don't believe what she says. My decision hasn't changed.
I think it's time we take some drastic measures. If we really don't want Sean's attention to be taken away from us, we have to get rid of Audrey's baby. We cannot waste any more time. It has to happen soon. By hook or by crook.
A place in your heart.
Nation Media Group Higher Education Fair and Skills Expo is back. The theme for the 9th edition is Shaping the Future. Join us from the 19th to the 20th of November at the Mombasa Sports Club grounds from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. as we interact with institutions of higher learning and career experts. For inquiries, please contact 0707 871 918 or 0719 038 902 or email jmadenge at ke.nationmedia.com or mwashira at ke.nationmedia.com.
Come on, hop on.
Good morning.
It's the NBA 75th from the Skyhook.
Gracias, George.
All the way to the alley-oop.
Oh, throw it down, big man. Good pass, bro.
That was an instant classic. This community right here stretches to every corner of the globe. Now we've seen kids turn into kings and give it all back to the next generation. There's a piece of this game for everyone. The game don't stop. It won't stop.
Black, it's not dark, it's bright. Black is bold. Black is every color, all together. My thing, your thing, our thing mixed together. Black shines brightest.
All right, you're watching With All Due Respect. We're talking about interesting things and fascinating things with innovators in studio, the construction sector, green housing, and now we know how to green your house, if you like. And we're at the interesting juncture of the question of policy and how policy affects what we do next and how we do next. And you spoke about, you know, the question of the building code. How's the same policy really affected right now, and what do we need to do to sort of supercharge this? You know, and how is this policy affecting, you know, the trainings, you know, for instance, of graduates or graduates in this business?
I would say in the recent years, the policy, we have made some stride, I would say, in the training and the TVETs. For example, there is this opening where the Juakali artisans can be able to get certification from prior running. What they have learned in the Juakali sector, they can be given an opportunity to get a certificate.
Right.
By getting a certificate means that they are moving from a no job to a professional. And when they get a certificate, they are able to probably start their own companies, register a company, and from the company, they can be able to contract. So I would say KNQA, Kenya National Qualification Authority, which is mandated in that, has opened a very good gap, and it has given a good ladder of how one can progress from one level to the next. Mm-hmm. So that is a big plus. Mm-hmm. All in all, in the implementation, there is need, for example, for the KQNA to liaise with the other organizations or training institutions, because with them alone, they cannot be able to reach down to these Juakari artisans. Right. Right. So the issue of after the policy, then there is the aspect of the implementation and the actors involved in the implementation. If that can be put together, then we would say, like, that area we have made very big progress. Mm. The second thing is, I don't know whether to say is a question of policy. Like in Kenya, there are trades that have nowhere in the framework. For example, scaffolding, working at heights. Mm. Every tall building you see in the city, there are timber which they put, or metals they put along it, so that they help the fundis to reach the top. Right. That is what is scaffolding, yeah? Yeah. But in Kenya, there is no certificates as colleges that offer this certification. For example, for us... how do we do it? We have to get international certification. Right. And therefore, it's not every college can be able to go to that level. Mm-hmm. So we need to get to factor all those skills that are required in the housing sector and streamline them. Today, all these guys that you see climbing up and down are either bricklayers or masons or carpenters. And therefore, they are not able to tell whether that scaffold is safe or not safe. Okay? So, consequently, even if we are looking for decent jobs, we are not able to get them, because this is a guy in other countries is paid highly. Right. We have a few in Kenya, like last year, 2020, we certified 124 scaffolders, including assessors of the scaffolders. Wow. That are supposed to assess and certify that the safety standards are as expected internationally. Right. But when they come out of the training with their certificates, when they go to the construction site, the contractor does not recognize their certificate, because there are some Juakari guys who have been doing it for him. Okay? So there is need that we have a control system or policy whereby you are a scaffolder, you remain a scaffolder as a professional scaffolder. Yes. If you are a bricklayer, remain a bricklayer with the certification and everything that shows you remain there. And therefore, the partnership with the NCA that licenses the artisans to go to the construction site, if the training institutions, KNQA, and the companies that are doing construction work together, then we shall have upgraded quite a lot our implementation of the policies, and as well the professional jobs for the artisans in Kenya in the housing and construction sector.
Yeah. Gentlemen, talk to me briefly about professionalization of this space. Just by the dint of what you just brought about, that it's extremely difficult because we have already sort of like a culture, right, on how we do things. So this is how we build things. This is Juakali. We just do things because it's been done like this. Because in this space, how do we sort of transition professional these things? Because this is what young people, and this word can bring those decent jobs that you're talking about. How do we do it?
I think Jose has touched on it. He's mentioned about the certification by NCA. So NCA would have a list of all registered artisans, and they can stop you. Ideally, they can enforcement. They can stop your site if you don't have registered artisans. They will show up. Why are you building without registered artisans? Because it's not safe even for the structure to be doing that. Right. So, like you say, it's a place where we need all parties to be players. And also, there is something, to me, I like to look at things from the bid side solution, so not from the side of the policy side. So from the builders themselves, if they have their own cooperative, they can protect themselves. You see, they are like, we cannot come to your work if you're paying us this much, because we consider ourselves professionals, we do our job professionally, we'll do the job in this particular time. So they have, it becomes an entrepreneur aspect and not just a Juakali, or the way you are looking at them like just other builders,
Yes.
It's a team. So, like if I'm building in Kisumu, for example, I need masons and there's a corporate institution for masons, and maybe there's a leader or somebody like that who has his team. So he gives me the team, we sign a contract, we make it very formal. We sign a contract and do the job. That way, they'll protect them, because they can say, we are not doing your job if you're going to pay us 500, he mentioned 500 shillings per day.
Yeah.
That we will not do your job, and you will not get anyone. This is a team. We work as a team. And when such steps from that side, and then with the policies from NCA, making sure everybody is registered, and registered people are working in the construction industry, I think those are the steps that will lead us into having that.
How much time do we need to sort of do this transition? So with these, sort of government and policy and, people who are in charge of these things, so what is like the critical mass that we need to get? So we train, how many would you say? The usual numbers bandied about, and we keep hearing this every so often. I think we had this from 2014 that we need about 30,000 masons, some, 50,000, electricians. What is the critical mass that we need sort of to supercharge this? With the trainings, people get the correct certification, so that then we are sort of like on the upward, that these jobs now are becoming more decent, more professional.
Yeah, I would say two things. One, the time required would be, if we take courses to be specific. So if a guy who is being trained in bricklaying is trained specifically on bricklaying, and he sticks to bricklaying, it may take like a period of 4 months in the training, and then he gets another period like 6 months on-job training. So I would say a year.
Right.
So in the other skills is the same, more or less the same.
Yeah.
So a year now times the number of an institution can take. And then the other problem is, when we look at numbers, the problem comes where every institution takes thousands without concentrating on what are the capabilities of the facilities. And that is one thing that we have realized. We better train small numbers, and that's why we spread them quite a lot in different regions of the country, so that we equate the facility with the number of trainees, so that you are able to produce the quality. So I would say in the current, we are moving in the right direction, because the government is training a lot of skilled people. Maybe I would say in the next 5 years, if the numbers go as per now, we shall be somewhere crossing the line. But the question is, the training institutions, the quality must be looked at. That guys who are produced, because many of the employers say the guys from the colleges, they don't know anything. Okay, so they need a certain another training. So we must become very practical, so that when we go to the industry, when we have the numbers, we are able to match the workload.
Right. There's the same question, because we're trying to solve a country problem here. because one part can't go ahead of the other, and the training is important, upskilling is important, the question of policy is important. There's, you know, TVETs, which for the last 8 years also have been an important space to open this. But what really do we need? What's the critical mass from where you sit to get these decent jobs? Because that's the question I'm getting here all of a sudden. What is this critical mass? How many sort of electricians that this country need, you know, to sort of move us forward to be like, so we have, this is professionalized field, if you like.
It's a good question. I don't know if I have the right answer for it, but maybe to continue briefly from what he said, I think we've focused a lot on the critical mass being on the trained people and being on the material that we are doing, but there's an aspect also of the consumer of these goods, like consumer of these trades. I think there is also an awareness that we need to create and appreciation of quality that we need to have in the market. Because if I want a quality house, I would look for quality tradesmen. I would not want another fundi to come and do. Even referrals, usually you're told, if you want a welder, there is a good welder somewhere, and you'll go for a good welder. So I think there is one aspect that is being left out, where I don't know how we'll train now the people who are developing, the people who are building the houses now to also appreciate the quality of, the value of having a good mason, for example, and how that affects the long run, in the long run, the project. Back to your question on the critical numbers, I don't know if I have the correct answer. I think every step is important as long as it's a step in the right direction. So if this year we do 500 and they're doing good job, people will notice.
Yes.
If we do 200 and they're doing good job, people will notice. If we do 5,000, then the better. So I think every step in the right direction is a good step. So we train as much as we can train, and then look at the impact that comes on the other end.
Yeah, and on addition of what he's saying, our realization is that when you train quality, the numbers may be difficult to realize for the country, because like in the last 3 years, most of our good trainees have been exiting out of the country, going to Middle East, going to South Sudan.
So you're training and they leave?
Yeah.
Because they're not, the jobs are not here.
Jobs are here, but the pay is not
commensurate.
Yes. But when they go outside, we give them international certification, and therefore when they go out, they'll be paid the same value as the Chinese who is being paid in Kenya. But when they remain in Kenya, they'll be paid 1,500.
With all respect, we need to fix that. We really need to fix that.
So if they reach a certain level, they exit the Kenyan labor market, which is good for us. They bring the foreign exchange.
But it's terrible for the country. Yes, it's terrible for the country.
I think that
and very good for the young people.
I agree. It's good for the individual. I mean, it's the same thing of, you know, like wildebeest, you know, crossing the Mara River. It's madness for the individuals, but for the group, it's perfect.
It's perfect. Yes. Yeah. And I think that's why I was saying it's also the other side of the consumers. Like we need as a country to value quality in construction, because in the long run, that same building that is done very well will probably you'll spend much less in the operation. It's like greening the building. The operation cost is like maybe 28%, and maybe the material is about 11%. But if you do the material correctly, then yeah, your building won't be an oven, for example, and you will spend much less in air conditioning, which if you spend air conditioning for 50 years that your house will be in existence, that will be nothing compared to the little you will have paid extra to the person to build a good quality product for you. So I think the market also,
All right, let me finish with this thought from Twitter. And this guy says, I asked in my WhatsApp group at home, I'm assuming this is where he stays in the States, that I asked for a legal representative, and I had about 20 people inbox me and DM me on the private and saying, yes, I can represent you. So these are lawyers that he lives with. I had a problem with my plumbing, and asked for the plumber. It took me 3 weeks to get a good plumber. Think about it. You know, more lawyers than plumbers. Nothing against lawyers, with all due respect. But to my guest tonight, Mtamu Kililo, karibu from Mike Hotel, karibu sana, and Hosea Munene, you've all done very well. Please come again and again. This has been a very refreshing conversation for us and for my audience. We've learned a lot, and we need to stop training people so that they can leave. They need to stay here. All right?
We give them the pay, they stay home.
They need to stay home.
Yeah,
with all the respect, yes. You go where you want it. I agree with that thought. Now, the final thoughts for us tonight is that we are still deep in a pandemic. I know the president has lifted the curfew, but the Ministry of Health guidelines are still very applicable. I know politicians are disregarding it, but please stay safe and do your part for the safety of others. Other countries are taking it seriously. At the very least, this weekend, Shanghai Disneyland closed for at least 2 days when a single attendee tested positive for COVID-19 after returning home. It's a single attendee. Now, another single attendee, more than 30,000 guests at the theme park lined up to get tested by workers in hazmat suits before they could leave. Here's the thing, China continues to pursue a strategy of shutting down society when any hint of COVID outbreak appears. 2 trains were stopped literally in their tracks last couple of weeks when a couple of crew members were discovered to have been in close contact with the infected people. Think about that. Jiangxi province found a single positive case on Saturday. They turned all their traffic lights red to discourage people from driving. Really is an odd policy and strategy, but it all goes to show that the seriousness of the times we live in. So stay safe, everyone. That's it for us in all due respect. We would like to leave you with Brian Sigu, the great, the legend. He finally has an album that is out tomorrow. Brian Sigu takes us home. My name is James Smart. Thank you very much. Do have a lovely night.
Yaye mama yaye, minye donda gobiambo, biro mosmos, kakunye usiku, abiro mayo. Wajalongi ginyingi nyako, olo mama yaye, awino kalando. Unde na duoko kabisi, mama yaye duok dala, aworo ya. Era chanda marit nango, era chanda kasibu, awara pi. Era runda ya era goto koda e bombe, era chanda nango. Ale onyagen, gira nando reti, tu 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 tu. Olala la minayo, piro nalando kawono yawa. Tu 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 tu. Kodi, kodi ya